The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. Longman Simplified English Series. Read by Thitima Phansri. Chapter 7. Tom and Huck swear on oath. The two boys flew on and on towards the village. Speechless with horror, they glanced backward over their shoulders from time to time, as if they feared that they might be followed. "If we can only get to the old mills before we break down," gasped Tom. "I can't bear this much longer." Huckleberry, heavy breathing was his only reply. At last they burst through the open door of the old mill and fell, grateful and exhausted, in the chattering shadows. After a time their breathing became regular and Tom said, "Huck, what do you think will happen?" "If Dr. Robinson dies, Redskin Joe will be hanged." Tom thought for a moment and then said, "Who tell we?" "What are you thinking about? If we do, and Redskin Joe isn't hanged, why he'll kill us sometime or other, as sure as we're lying here, if nobody tells. Let Potter do it. If he's foolish enough, he's generally drunk enough." Tom went on thinking and then asked, "Huck, how can Peter tell? He doesn't know anything about it." "Why doesn't he know?" "Peter couldn't see anything. He'd just been stunned when Redskin Joe struck the doctor with his knife." "That is so, Tom." After another thoughtful silence, Tom asked, "Huck, are you sure that you can keep quiet about it?" "Tom, we must. You know that if we tell the people what we have seen, and if that devilish half-breed escapes hanging, he'll drown us just as if we were a couple of cats. Now, Tom, we must swear to each other to keep our mouths shut." "I agree, Huck. It is the best thing." "Shall we just hold hands and swear that we—" "Oh no, that wouldn't do for this. That's good enough for ordinary things, but there ought to be right thing about a big thing like this, and blood." Tom highly approved of this idea. It was deep and dark and awful. The hour, the circumstance, and the surroundings suited it. He picked up a clean, flat piece of wood that lay in the moonlight, took the end of a pencil out of his pocket, got the moonlight on his work, and with his tongue between his teeth, wrote this line: "Huck Finn and Tom Sawyer swear that they will keep their mouths shut about this, and they wish that they may drop dead in their track if they overtell." Huckleberry was filled with admiration of the ease with which Tom wrote, and of the superior style of his language. Then Tom unwound the threads from one of his needle, and each boy pricked his thumb and pressed out a drop of blood. In time, by pressing over and over again, Tom managed to sign the letter T and S, using the end of this little finger for a pen. Then he showed Huckleberry how to make an H and an F, and the oath was complete. They buried a piece of wood close to the wall with some mournful ceremony and charm, and the chain that bound their tongues were considered to be locked and the key thrown away. Then they separated. When Tom crept in at the bathroom window, the night was almost ended. He undressed with excessive caution and fell asleep, congratulating himself that nobody knew of his absence. He was not aware that Sid had been awake for an hour. When Tom awoke, Sid had dressed and gone. There was a late look in the light. He was startled. Why has he not been called? In a few minutes he was downstairs, feeling stiff and sleepy. The family were still at the table, but they had finished breakfast. His aunt did not blame him, but said with downcast eyes, "Tom has his breakfast," and gloomy silence. After breakfast his aunt took him aside, wept over him, and asked him how he could break her old heart so by his bad behavior. She told him that she has given up hope of making him a good boy. That was worse than 1,000 whipping, and Tom's heart was sorer now than his body. He cried, begged for forgiveness, and promised over and over again not to misbehave. When he was finally dismissed, he felt that he has a little confidence in his promise, and that she has not forgiven him entirely. He felt too miserable to take his revenge against it, so he speedily retreated through the back gate. Was unnecessary. At school, while he was being punished with Joe Harper for staying away the day before, he looked as if he did not care what happened to him. He sat down, rested his elbow on his desk and his jaw in his hand, and stared at the wall with the stony stare of suffering that has reached the limits and can go no farther. His elbow was pressing against some hard substance. After a long time, he slowly and sadly changed his position and took up this object with a sigh. It was wrapped in paper. He unwrapped it. Aside from the very dead follow, and his heart broke. It was his brass door handle. This last straw broke the camel back.